Good morning to one and all present here. I welcome you all for the second day, fourth session of our AICT sponsored Atal Online Faculty Development Program on Artificial Intelligence Enabled Sensors and Networks for 5G Wireless Communication. And today's resource person is Dr. M. Lakshmanan, Professor and Head of Department of ECE from Galgodias College of Engineering and Technology. And he is going to give a session on the title of Artificial Intelligence for Beginners. I request Dr. P. Balashanmuga Vadivu to introduce our chief.
Good morning to all. I am Dr. Balashanmuga, Associate Professor, EC Department, to welcome you all for Day 2, the Session 4 on Artificial Intelligence for Beginners by Dr. M. Lakshmanan, Professor and Head of the Head and EC Department, Galgodias College of Engineering and Technology. Dr. M. Lakshmanan graduates in Electronics and Communication Engineering from Madras University. He obtained his post-graduation degree in Communication System from Anna University and his PhD degree from VIT University. Currently, he is working as professor and head of the department Electronics and Communication Engineering and Dean Research of Galgodias College of Engineering and Technology, Greater Noida, Uttar Pradesh. His area of specialization includes wireless communication and networks. He has more than 18 years of experience in teaching and 12 years in research. He is a senior member in IEEE and UAWE. He is he is a fellow in IET and IEI. He has acquired a project worth of rupees 5 lakhs under the Vishweshraya Research Promotion Scheme for the project Empirical Channel Model for Electromagnetic Nanocommunication System. He has published 71 papers in reputed journals and conference. He has 4 patents published in India and 2 patents granted in Australia. He has delivered several keynote talks and in FDP workshops and seminars. He is an active reviewer in various SEI and Scopus Index journals. He has received the Best Research Award in International Excellence Award in 2021 and the Award of Emergence Leader for the contribution and achievement in discipline of engineering in higher education leadership Meet 2018. He has received active researcher award many times from VIT University. His current area of research interest includes wireless communication and networks, security algorithms, digital communication, information coding theory, signal and image processing, deep learning, and machine learning. So I welcome you, sir. So the floor is for you, sir.
Thank you. My voice is audible, right?
Yes, sir.
And I'm just sharing my screen. Yes, my screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yes, thank you. So good morning to all who are present over here for this Atal FDP program of 5 days. And I thank the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering of Mahendra Engineering Colleges for inviting me to give a talk on one hour talk on artificial intelligence. So especially I have seen that schedule. First day has been completed. In the first day there was been no topic related to artificial intelligence. So it would be benefit for all the participants to have an introduction about this artificial intelligence at this 5-day FDP program. So I hope that this entire session will give you the insight about the what is artificial intelligence and how to start this artificial intelligence and what is artificial intelligence. So everyone is aware about that. The entire world is moving towards artificial intelligence, which is quite astonishing, as well as at the same time it is like surprise for everyone that why this much boom has come at present nowadays. When you go over back around 20 years back, if you see, most of the curriculum are having this artificial intelligence as an elective course. So hopefully, if anyone has been aware about around 20 years back, if anyone has studied either computer science engineering or electronics and communication engineering, and most of them have this specialized courses either in their undergraduate or in their postgraduate. But why that has not become that much popular during that time is, the reason behind that one is because of it is computational complexities. So at that time of era around 2000, in 90s and 2000, beginning of the 2000, we are not having that much efficient computers for computing that much fast calculations. At the same time, we are not having that much capacity to store the data. But nowadays, if you want to store a large amount of data, we doesn't require any storage, fixed storage kind of thing, like a ROM, read-only memory, where you can able to store a static memory. That is where you can able to store the data in the static memory. That is not required. But nowadays, what we are having is, we are having a much larger storage, such as cloud storages. So that's why this is one of the reason which has come out of this one, and we are in this current situation. We are having high speed processors are available for doing a larger number of computations. At the same time, we can able to do the faster computations. So this has become more easy for us, or more sophisticated environment we are having nowadays, so that everyone starts moving towards this artificial intelligence. Being a computer science graduate, being an electronics graduate, being a communication graduate, even being an electrical or a mechanical graduate, nowadays this is going to be the boom for everyone. So that if you start focusing on our core engineering with the help of this artificial intelligence, then it would be much more improvement we can able to achieve it in our core engineering, either in mechanical or electrical or electronics or communication, or whatever be the core engineering. We can able to achieve whatever the expectations we require it in our core engineering. We can able to achieve it with the help of this artificial intelligence. And basically this we started to focus this artificial intelligence in the 90s and 2000s, but it has been started in the early 19 around 1955-56. It has been started, and slowly it has been evolved. But now everyone in the world starts using this artificial intelligence, right? So I am keep on saying the stories of artificial intelligence. So it will be, and it's going to be a never-ending process, never-ending topic. We can't able to complete this topic because most of the researchers are focusing on this artificial intelligence nowadays. And before today's lecture, it won't be like a advanced one. It will be some what insight I'm going to give it to know what is exactly artificial intelligence, right? So it requires different learning techniques. That also we will be seeing just an introduction about the different learning techniques which we can see it, and then we can see about different aspects of what are the merits and demerits of this artificial intelligence, how much it will be useful, and what type of applications can be useful. Everything we can able to see it in our today's session. So just we will enter into the artificial intelligence. So first of all, which is today's lecture, what we are going to have it in our lecture today is, we will be sum up all the perceptions of artificial intelligence. So for most of us, this will be like a perception of artificial intelligence, which I am going to aggregate it. So ultimately, when artificial intelligence comes into this world, everyone can think that there will be a destroying, that is, machines will be destroying the humans. But at present scenario, we are at no risk of being destroyed by any kind of machines. But in future, there might be chances that machines can overtake humans. We should not go into that era of world where the machines can overcome the humans, which we have seen it in so many films. Machine starts overcoming what we can say, overcoming the humans. Just like so many films have been taken, like Terminator, and in our Tamil also we have so many films we have taken that machines have started overtaking humans, like Endran and Robo kind of films have come over there. So it's an imagination, but that imagination is due to this artificial intelligence, right? So once this artificial intelligence has come into existence, there might be chances that machines will destroy the humans, but at present scenario, there is no risk of humans being destroyed by the machines. So, but AI is a fundamental risk to the existence of human civilization. There is a fundamental risk is there in AI, but there are a lot of benefits are there. Whenever any new technology comes, the benefits will be there. At the same time, the risk also will be comes into existence. So we need to be very careful in utilizing any technology, not only AI, any technology. We need to be very careful in utilizing the technology. And this has been quoted by the recent tycoon who is called Elon Musk. He is quoted this one, right? So he will be differing from that one. He told that AI is a fundamental risk to the existence of the human civilization. So now, what is this? If you see this one, whether the artificial intelligence is a threat or not is a debatable. Some researchers or scientists will say that artificial intelligence is a threat, and some other will say that artificial intelligence is not a threat. But still, it is a debatable position. We cannot say that which is a threat or which is not a threat. We cannot say that now. So, but we have to be careful in handling the machines, right? So who is this? Anyone? Any idea? If whoever is working on artificial intelligence, you might know him. It has been taken before his death in 2006. But can anyone tell me about who is this? Any idea? If it is not no, I will tell you this one. This is who is called as John McCarthy. He is the true father of artificial intelligence. He has been there in this world between 1927 to 2011. Whomsoever is working on artificial intelligence, you should know about him, because he started this process of, not he started, he expected this artificial intelligence will come into our globe, or it will come into the human era, that is, it will be coming into the human development. He has predicted it and he has assumed it, and then he struggled in it, and then later it comes into existence. He has seen that one, and but now he is no more. This photo, which has been taken 5 years before his death, right, in 2006 it has been taken, right? So he is the father of artificial intelligence. So in 1956 he has gone for a conference in Dartmouth. So Dartmouth conference, in his talk he has given that he first used this term artificial intelligence. So can you expect that when he has told us 1956, after 50 years, it has started evolving in our world, and now currently we are using, almost after 60 years, we are thoroughly using this artificial intelligence. But when he has coined it 60 years before, he coined this word artificial intelligence in this conference, Dartmouth conference. He defined this, what is in his point of view, what is his definition is, he defined as it has been defined as the science and engineering of making intelligent machines. So this is the definition he has made it, defined as the science and engineering of making intelligent machines. So this is the definition he has given it in the Dartmouth conference for the artificial intelligence, right? So what you can say that this is he has already predicted that, you see, where not only engineering, science and engineering has to join together, and they have to make the machines in the process of making the intelligent machines. And if you see this, we are in the stone era that we have started in this era, and now slowly we have been civilized and we have become professional, and in future we are going to expect we are going to be in this era of machines with the help of this artificial intelligence, which we are going to be there. So it takes thousands of years from moving from this era to this era, right? So we are slowly migrated from this one, and now currently we are in the civilized era. Now we are going to enter into the machine era with the help of this artificial intelligence. So in a sense, we can say that artificial intelligence is a technique of getting the machines to work and behave like humans. So we can say that machines will work, that is, it's a technique of making the machines to work and behave like humans, but it cannot be exactly like humans. So it's going to be tougher and tougher to work like a humans, because we cannot make these machines to make it identical to the humans, but we can make to work and behave like humans. So in the recent past, AI has been able to accomplish this by creating machines and robots that are being used in a wide range of the fields. There are varieties of the fields we have started using this one by creating various machines and robots. One of the application is this one. These are the one of the applications, and which is second one is, that is the first application is the healthcare, where we are using this artificial intelligence. We have started using it, and during this pandemic, which is more helpful in the healthcare system with the help of AI. So many have predicted the COVID-19 scenarios. You may be aware about how the COVID-19 prediction will be there. So many have been estimated with the help of this healthcare system. In the healthcare system, they have been predicted this COVID-19 using this AI methodology. And the second application we have started using it in the robotics. So most of the robotics we are using the artificial intelligence. And the third one in the marketing field for Sensex and the share market predictions. So share market predictions we have started using. So share market predictions, we started using this AI techniques to predict what would be the share we can able to purchase it, or when we can able to sell the shares. That and all can be done through this artificial intelligence. And the fourth one is business analytics, and many more applications we are using it. So business analytics, which is we can use in combination with the data sciences. So we can able to use all these applications. And the most important application, not we can say it as an important application, the most focus on this artificial intelligence will be on, one is for optimization. We can use this artificial intelligence, and we can use classifications. We can able to use this artificial intelligence, and then we can able to go for prediction. These are the some of the parameters or the some of the outcomes of this artificial intelligence. Wherever we require optimization, classification, prediction, in those type of applications, we can able to use this artificial intelligence. So ultimately, if you take any core engineering, so we are saying that core engineering is getting outdated, core engineering is getting removed from the engineering itself. Most of them will be thinking that only computer science is booming, computer science is booming. It's not like computer science is booming. For artificial intelligence, the main core thing is we need to write the software codes. So in that case, what will happen is when we go for this any core engineering, if you take any core engineering, it will work on these three principles. Major of the core engineering will work in these three principles, like optimization, classification, and prediction. So ultimately, on all core engineerings, whether it is smart grid, even in smart grids, we have started using artificial intelligence. And even I am in the field of nano communication as well as in the wireless communication. We have also started in our research area, we have also started using this artificial intelligence, right? Ultimately, in image processing also, we have started using artificial intelligence. Now in mechanical, if you want to optimize something, if you go for mechanical engineering, when you go for Mahindra, recently they have launched XUV 700. So in this vehicle, most of the things which has been are AI enabled, right? So in mechanical engineering also they have started moving towards the AI enabled concepts. They have moved into it. So ultimately, as a core engineer, if you are working in a core engineering domain, our focus is we should not leave out our core domain, and we should move on to the artificial intelligence, applying it on our core domain, which is going to be the future trend as well as which is going to be the future research. So in such a way, our focus should be more towards on applying artificial intelligence on the core engineering. Ultimately, what will happen is our core engineering also will be, which will also can flourish in a few years. So ultimately, however, many AI applications, whatever the things I have told that many AI applications which are not perceived as AI because so many reasons are there. We cannot say it as perceived, we cannot say it as AI because we will be often thinking that artificial intelligence as robots doing our daily course. So most of us are thinking that artificial intelligence means we will be thinking as a robot doing our day-to-day activities. It's not like that. But the truth is, artificial intelligence has found its way into our daily lives. If you take your mobile application, if you switch on the camera, it will show AI-enabled camera, right? So ultimately, in our day-to-day lives, we have been moved into the artificial intelligence. Now, most of them, I have seen that participants are from ladies faculty. If you see that nowadays, if you see that one robo has come, if you see it in television, some of the ads have been coming, robots cleaning the houses and mopping the houses, cleaning the houses and mopping the houses so that the working woman can reduce their timing in the concentrating on cleaning and mopping the houses, floors of the houses. So if you've seen that ad has come, one robo which has circular movement, it will roam here and there into the house. It will roam here and there into the house, and it will automatically clean the dust particles. After that, it will be mop the floors. If you see that ads have been coming over there. One type of vacuum cleaner. Previously, vacuum cleaner, which we have to use it for cleaning it. Now, automatically, robo is doing that job for the humans, right? So that is one advantage, one improvement in our artificial intelligence, using it in the robo for cleaning the floors of the houses. So it has become so general that we do not realize we use it all the time, right? So for instance, have you ever one more, this is another practical applications where we can able to see that artificial intelligence. Everyone in our research or in the teaching field, we have used Google. Not even our life, that is not even our teaching community or research community. Our children have started also using Google. Even a small child also started using Google. Now, Google is the best search engine. Now, so many search engines are there. First is the Google search engine, which has incorporated AI. So in that, what is the functionality of AI in the Google searches? Now, if you see that, if you type anything in the Google search, for example, if you start, if you want to find search something, right? I want to search something about 5G communication. If I start typing 5G in the Google search, automatically what it will show? It will start embedding with the 5G communication, 5G mobile, and then 5G technology. If I start typing only 5G, it will automatically in the drag down box, drag down menu, you will have all these kind of keywords will be there. So this keywords will give you the insight to that what you have to search it. How these keywords have been automatically predicted over here is, that is prediction due to or prediction with the help of AI, so that you will can able to get accurate searching results. This is prediction. And similarly, if you want to have any accurate searching results are required, that also can be predicted through this AI. So if you type so many keywords, so keyword 1 in the Google search, if you type keyword 1, keyword 2 plus keyword 3 plus keyword 4, and it will give you the accurate search results mapping with all these keywords. That is the specialty of any search engine nowadays. But this has been incorporated, or this has been used in the Google search engine first with the help of this AI. So this is the example. If you start typing it, you will have all kind of this one, right? So just I have written over here. You can't able to search it. So here I have just start typing it San F. It gives the San Francisco weather, San Francisco Giants, the San Francisco Valley, San Francisco State University. It will give you all the predictions results, so that we can able to choose anyone very fast. So communication search results will come very fast in case of search engines. And the second one, which we can able to observe it in the Facebooks, right? You can able to see the Facebook feed, right? When you start searching in Facebook of your area of interest, right? For example, if you start searching for higher studies continuously in the Facebook, automatically once you open that Facebook after some time, some period of time, your Facebook feed will be filled up with your area of interest. Whatever the things you have typed it over there, like feeding results which you have typed it, like my area of interest is research, you are continuously finding out some kind of research community over in the Facebook. Based on your interest, it will automatically give you the feed in the Facebook. This is one advantage of the one improvement in the AI. So ultimately, whatever the things which we have done it, this will be the ultimate answer to all these questions. Is behind this one is artificial intelligence. Now slightly I will come to this McCarthy, why he has quoted this information in the 1956 conference, but it takes this many years to see the reality of this artificial intelligence. He also given this one why this has been delayed also, and how his research on artificial intelligence has been focused on this period of time from 1956 to the later years. So he given one quote, entire career. So he wants to establish that this research that is based on the research on the artificial intelligence will proceed on the basis that every aspect of learning or future of intelligence can in principle be described so accurately that you can create a machine that simulates them. So these are the words which has been given by him. That's why I have not changed the language. So he has given this complete statement. He wants to pursue throughout his career about this development of this artificial intelligence. That this research, whatever the research he is going to proceed, which is every aspect of the learning or the future of intelligence, which will make him to create a machine that simulates the human being. So this is his condition. But what happens we will be, McCarthy is enshrined as the father of artificial intelligence. Is not only why we are calling him as father of artificial intelligence, he not only managed to open this field and turn it into a new area of research, but he provides evidence for its development for half a century. So it's not only he has opened this field of artificial intelligence, and he has not he has not given this new area of research. What happens here is he has developed this artificial intelligence for near about half a century. Around 50 years, he developed this one. Otherwise, we cannot able to have this artificial intelligence reality nowadays. So after 1956, slowly he has started in the consecutive years. He has dedicated himself continuously in the artificial intelligence laboratories in the best universities. So a job that gives the best results today, right? But what happens in this period is, what happens in this period of 50 years, the speed and the memory capacity of the today's computers may be insufficient. He has given this quoting. The speed and the memory capacity of today's computers may be insufficient to stimulate many of the more complex functions of the human brain. Because in artificial intelligence, we have to mimic our human brain. So in 70s, 80s, we are not having that much supercomputers. We are not having to do other complex functions of the human brain. It's not lacked the what he has told that it is not what his vision is. At that time, he has told that it is not the lack of the capacity of the machines. He told that I am telling that it is because of the supercomputers. But what McCarthy's point of view is, it's not lack of the capacity of the machines, but it is inability to write the programs. That is the major problem which we had it, right? So we can't able to take the full advantage of what we had it in the period of 70s and 80s. But storage capacity is also another problem. But what happens, the major, in his point of view, it is not because of the lack of the capacity of the machines. It is the inability to write the programs to compute this complex functions. Whatever the things we are writing it is very difficult to write the programs. That is, we can't able to write the codings or we are not able to program it, right? And he himself sought the solution to his problem and created this Lisp. This is the one of the oldest language. One of the oldest language. I'm quoting it as second oldest language, right? So second oldest language, which is called as Lisp. So he has given this one. We can able to write the program which is more easier in Lisp. So he has given the solution in his period of time, and this is the one of the language which has been used for the hackers in the olden days. The original hackers are there. They have used this language for hacking it. The hacking language, he has started using it for the artificial intelligence. And one of the thing is in the same language, Lisp language has been used in IBM machines in the late 1950s for playing the chess. So for playing chess in 1950s, they have started using this Lisp language. So near the end of the research stage of his career in 1978, he had to he has given up his idea of artificial intelligence. In 1978, he has given up his idea. So he has written why he is giving up his idea. What he has written is, to succeed artificial intelligence, we need 1.7 times Einstein's are required, 2 Maxwell's, 5 Faraday's, and the funding of 0.3 Manhattan projects are required. In the olden era, we will call it in the form of Manhattan projects. So that much funding is required, so that he has he had given up his idea of pursuing this artificial intelligence. So it's quite difficult. He has thought that it is quite difficult to pursue it. So he has abruptly stopped in his career in 1978. So no one knows about this history. It is available in Google. If you Google it, you will get all these things. But everyone should know that no one should think that artificial intelligence has come into existence now. It has come in the year 1956 and it has been temporarily stopped in 1978. Later, due to the technology development and the programming languages development, automatically we have entered into this artificial intelligence. So it requires this. We need to solve this complex functions. He requires 1.7 Einsteins on his point of view, 2 Maxwell's, 5 Faraday's, and the funding of 0.3 Manhattan projects. Now, what should be the main goals for AI? If you want to have AI, what should be the main goal? The most important thing is we have to have the simulation of the human intelligence in the machines. This should be, whomsoever is designing any application based on AI, we have to think like a human. And we have to simulate that human brain or the human intelligence in the machines. Then you will be successful in developing the artificial intelligence. So I'm just subdividing the goals of the artificial intelligence, which includes various things. One is learning is required, right? If you want to mimic your human brain, what is our human brain? human brain will have the most important capability is this learning capability. You can see that when we are at early childhood from 6 months to 4 years, our brain starts learning each and every functionality. 6 months to 4 years, our brains slowly, it will keep on, our brain will be trained, and ultimately our brain will start learning the things, what to do, how to do, where to do, when to do, right? So first and foremost thing for any human brain, our requirement is learning. So ultimately, whatever the intelligence we are creating artificially, the same human intelligence which we are creating artificially, which also requires, the first and foremost one is the learning, and the second one is reasoning. So our brain also will have the reasoning function. What do you mean by reasoning? So reasoning is what reasons. It has to be capability to reason out each of the things. So reasoning is required, and then third one is perception. So perception is also another factor. So these three factors, or these three important concepts, or these three are the things our human brain can able to function it in a. If this learning capability and reasoning capability and perception is good, automatically your human brain is functioning properly. So ultimately, if you want to mimic this human brain, so your artificial intelligence should have the learning capability, reasoning capability, and then perception. All three should be there for the similar intelligence what we have created artificially. So everyone is moving towards artificial intelligence. There are so many different definitions are there, like 4 to 5 definitions. If you Google it, each one will have their own definitions. So I have collected the different definitions and I have put it over here. So AI is intelligent because it learns. This is one of the definition. And AI transforms data into knowledge, right? So this is another definition. And third definition is AI is about intelligent problem solving. This is another researcher has given it. And another researcher has given that AI embodies the ability to adapt to the environment, to cope with incomplete or incorrect knowledge. So these are some of the definitions which has been given by different people. Out of that, I will, on my perspective, I will choose the first definition. This is of my interest. AI is intelligent because it learns. Out of these definitions, I will prefer on my choice. You can be able to choose your own definitions, which is there are so many definitions and descriptions are there. You can choose it. I will prefer this one. Why? Means if you want to mimic your human brain, the most important function out of all these three which I have given it, learning is the important factor, right? Without learning, you cannot able to make any similarities between the human brain and the artificial brain, that is human intelligence and artificial intelligence. So AI is intelligent because it is learns. So that's why it's called artificial intelligence. Your brain also, your intelligence which we have created artificially, also periodically it will learn based on the available parameters, available training data, right? So now before I go any further, let me clear a very common misconception. People often tend to think that AI, ML and DL are same since they have common applications. Everyone will think that AI means ML, ML means DL. So ML is machine learning, DL is deep learning. Everyone will think that everything is same, but it is not same, right? Because applications are same, but all three are not same. They are different. So artificial intelligence is different, machine learning is different, and deep learning is different. Is it clear? So this is about artificial intelligence. Now this is machine learning. I'm just given a pictorial representation over here, and this is deep learning. Got it? Now from this you can able to have a conclusion. Whether all three are same, all three are definitely not same, but all three can be used for a common applications. So from this, what you can learn is, you can think that all three are different. From this pictorial representation, you can able to think that all three are different. So what is the difference between these three? First of all, let us take deep learning. Deep learning is, we are learning. Learning phase alone will be done in deep learning, right? So we will start learning for a particular application. We will start learning this one. For example, if you suppose a human wants to drive the car, right? On the first set, he cannot able to drive the car on his own. So what he will do is, he will go to a driver. What do you say that? You will go for any driving school, and driver will teach you. Teach you to how to drive, and what are the parameters we have to take it while driving. Everything he will be informing us, and then we will take up all the parameters. Slowly, on day by day basis, we will start learning the driving. Got it? So that functionality is given by deep learning. Got it? Once you have learned driving, you will implement driving, right, for an application. So for example, initially you cannot drive for so many kilometers. You will drive for a particular few kilometers, right? And then you will be driving for more kilometers, and then you will be driving for a continuous 24 hours a day. You can able to drive it, and then you can able to drive in a complex area. You can able to drive in a densely populated area. You can able to drive in a different hilly areas, so that your brain will be keep on adapting to this one, and you will assume that your driving will become a machine. For driving, you should learn. You make your brain to learn. That is deep learning. It will go in depth into your brain, and then it will learn how to drive. And when you start driving for all the places, your driving will become a machine here. For a particular machine, you are able to do any kind of place, or any kind of place you can able to do the driving, any kind of situation. And ultimately, what is your artificial intelligence? It is the complete mold, the parameter of a replicate of a human, right? So that is called as the artificial intelligence, right? Directly you cannot go with the artificial intelligence. If you want to implement artificial intelligence or anything for successful driving, that is the complete optimized driver, you will become an artificial automatically. This will be the functionality of the artificial intelligence. So this is the real-time example. Now this can be applicable to any applications, right? Now from this, what we can see is, your deep learning will be the inner part, right? Automatically machine learning will become your subset of deep learning, and ultimately artificial intelligence will become the subset of machine learning. Got it clear? So this is the way of interpreting deep learning, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, right? Now we will move on to some of the applications. I want to classify what is the functionality of deep learning, machine learning, artificial intelligence. I have given you with the example of driving a vehicle, but in the real applications, in the technological world, we need to see about how we are using the artificial intelligence, right? So many are using Apple phones, right? In Apple phones, one of the application is the Siri application, which is an artificial intelligence application. And one more is there. If you are using Amazon, you will have Alexa. That is also AI based application, right? So whatever the applications we have had it in Alexa or Siri, this is an application of complete AI, machine learning, and deep learning. All three are required in these kind of applications, right? So now let me tell you how these three things or technologies are related to each other. So artificial intelligence is science of getting machines to mimic the behavior of humans. Machine learning, I have given you that, is a subset of AI which that focuses on getting machines to make the decisions by feeding them the data. And deep learning is this subset of machine learning that uses the concept of neural networks to solve the complex problems. So this is the technological based definitions which I have given earlier is based on the driving vehicles. Deep learning is the subset of machine learning. Machine learning is the subset of artificial intelligence. So ultimately, when you relate it to a technical application, what would be the definition is, so artificial intelligence is science of getting the machines to mimic the complete behavior of the humans. But machine learning is, it is a subset of AI. So that focuses on making the machines to make the decisions automatically by feeding the data. So the machines has to make the correct decisions. That will be the functionality of the machine learning. And deep learning is that uses the concept of neural networks. Simple neural networks, we will be using it. We will call it as artificial neural networks. Nowadays, CNN, convolutional neural network, RNN, recursive neural network, and then we are having coherent neural network, and then back propagation. There are different neural networks are there, and then feed forward neural network. So many neural networks are there to solve the complex problems. So whatever the complex problems are there, that will be solved by deep learning. And once the problem is solved, the machines will be making the decisions with the help of machine learning. And once it is able to make the decisions, as a human, if that starts making the decisions properly and correctly, then that will be artificial intelligence. So I have given you the subsets earlier. Deep learning is the subset of machine learning. Machine learning is the subset of artificial intelligence. Right? So artificial and machine learning and deep learning are all the interconnected fields. Now I have just interconnected the fields. I have not done it separate. It's interconnected. Artificial intelligence is interconnected to deep learning. Deep learning is interconnected to machine learning. Machine learning to artificial intelligence. It is a mesh interconnection, right? Sometimes deep learning is directly can be used to mimic the human behavior instead of machine learning. Sometimes deep artificial and mimicking human behavior, we require deep learning and machine learning and then artificial intelligence. So it depends on like that, what type of application we are going to develop and how you are going to develop, right? So you can see that 1950s, your machine learning starts, that is artificial intelligence starts in late 1950s, that is in 1956. John McCarthy has given that initiation in 1956, and slowly it has been progressed. And then when we reached in 2017, we can able to have the successful implementation of all these things. Now you can able to see this. Initially, artificial intelligence has developed without knowing how to solve the complex functions. Then they started developing machine learning. For machine learning, there are two approaches are there. One of the approaches, initial days, they have used initial days for machine learning. They have used regression techniques. You can say it as specifically as statistically regression techniques. It uses only statistical calculations, mathematical calculations using regression techniques. And the most common technique you have heard at SVM, support vector machine, which is one of the statistical regression technique which has been used in the 90s and 2000s to solve the decision making, right? So because in artificial intelligence we have to make successful decision making. Now what will happen is, for successful decision makings, then they have moved on to machine learning concept, right? And ultimately they have initially used initially they have used statistical regression techniques to make the decision making. After that, so we can't able to have that much learning cannot be achieved with the help of this regression techniques. So what we require is we need to go for in-depth learning. Then they moved on to from machine learning to deep learning to have in-depth learning. In-depth learning Why this is required is you need to get accurate results. You need to get accurate results. That's why in-depth learning is required. That can be done with the help of neural networks, especially deep neural networks. What do you mean by deep neural networks? If anyone has been aware about neural network, if you say that this is your input layer and this is your output layer, and in between that hidden layer will be there. This hidden layer will be used for training the data to have the accurate results. And if you increase this hidden layer of more than one, if you increase the number of hidden layers more than one, then it will become deep neural network. Right? Don't think that it's some other neural network. Deep neural network is if you increase the number of hidden layers more than one, automatically it will become deep neural network. When you start increasing the number of hidden layers, automatically the results what we have achieved in the output layer will be more accurate. So if it is more accurate, we can able to train the data very with the help of more number of data, we can able to train it and we can able to make the decision accurately, so that we can able to mimic the human intelligence in a accurate or almost closest to the human intelligence, right? So that's why for doing this one, when you go for deep neural network, we require storage capacities should be much more larger. So that's why nowadays we are having cloud storage, right? So that will be helpful. And for fast computation, when you increase the number of hidden layers, computation should be faster. That's why nowadays we are having high-speed processors. So at the beginning of my talk, I have told about you this usage of high speed and extra storage capacity. So that's why we have been more successful nowadays in case of artificial intelligence, right? So ultimately machine learning and deep learning, why we need to focus on this one, I have just given you all the details which we needs artificial intelligence by providing a set of algorithms and neural networks to solve any kind of data driven problems. So and you can think that if you see that for taking out this artificial intelligence, if you take this artificial intelligence, everyone can think that so machine learning and deep learning is sufficient to make this artificial intelligence successful, or that is sufficient to have machine learning and deep learning for artificial intelligence. Means it is not true. So it is not, AI is not restricted to only machine learning and deep learning. It consists of various of vast domain of fields, which includes, what is this one? It is a human translation. This is one thing. And this is also used by AI. And what is this one? If you see that in US, vehicle to vehicle communication and vehicle collisions and all, everything they can able to control it through AI. That is the traffic control can be done with the help of artificial intelligence. And what is this? Augmented reality, which is called virtual reality. Nowadays we are having augmented reality and virtual reality. And the next one is we are having expert system. This is also possible. A virtual person will be available. Will be available in remote place, and we can able to have a conversation with him by assuming that he is available in this room in a virtual way, which we can call it as expert system. This is called robotics. We are using AI. So there are we cannot say that only machine learning and deep learning is AI. AI can be used in any fields, but what we require is for computation purpose we require machine learning and deep learning. Right? Don't think about only machine learning and deep learning is AI. AI is nothing but an application. So what humans can able to think it, right? Now when you are driving your car, when you are driving at a very fast speed, and suppose in between that some other vehicle has crossed in between, what you have to do? You have to use our brain to, our brain will automatically think that something is there to collide us. Automatically you will apply the brake, right? So that kind of thinking you can able to develop as a simulator, you can able to develop that kind of intelligence, then you will be successful in this artificial intelligence. So that is the concept of driverless cars. Nowadays, driverless cars have been comes over in China, and in most of the places, driverless cars they have started it, right? So that's also one example of artificial intelligence, right? So now we will just move on to the evolutionary stages of artificial intelligence. So if you are having mobile communication, will be calling it as first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, and now we are moving on to the fifth generation. The same way, artificial intelligence also have different evolutionary stages are there. So we can say that there are three types of artificial intelligence are there. There are three types of artificial intelligence are available, or you can say it as there is three evolutionary stages. One is called as artificial narrow intelligence. Next one is artificial general intelligence, and another one is artificial super intelligence, right? So these three you need to understand. We cannot call all as AI. So there are three different stages, or we can call it as three different types with this intelligence level: narrow intelligence, general intelligence, and super intelligence. So narrow intelligence, general intelligence, super intelligence, right? You can able to have from this pictorial representation, you can able to understand what is narrow, what is general, what is super, right? I will give you the explanation of this narrow intelligence, general intelligence, and super intelligence with the help of applications. Then it is easy to understand. I'm going to give you a technical application where you can able to think about what is exactly narrow intelligence, what is exactly general intelligence, what is exactly super intelligence, which we can able to see that one. I will come to that one. So these are the general types of AI, right? Reactive machines, limited memory, theory of mind, and self-aware, right? Whatever the three stages which I have given it over here: artificial narrow intelligence, general intelligence, and super intelligence, which will come under the category of this self-aware type. Got it? So these are the general types of AI. Got it? I will explain you what is reactive machine, what is limited memory, what is theory of mind, and what is self-aware. So this self-aware is the what by the name itself indicates that it is self-trained one. That is self-aware, means which is similar to human brain, which is similar to human brain. So ultimately, whatever the three evolutionary stages of AI, which will come under the category of self-aware. Is it okay? So you can able to correlate now. Whatever the self-aware type of AI is exactly the similar kind of human brain. So whatever the categories of AI which we are having it, which will come under the self-aware AI. Then if this is a self-aware AI, then what is this three? That is reactive machines, limited memory, theory of mind. So what are these three things? Now I am having this classification. Now, excuse me. So first of all, we will take about the reactive machines. In reactive machines, that is the first one which doesn't have memory. That is the main thing. So how it will respond? It will only respond to the different stimuli. That is, it will respond to the different inquiry comes, or different request comes, or different behavior. It will respond, but it doesn't have any memory. And the second one is limited memory. That is the second one. In case of the limited memory, is the name itself is given that memory is there, but it is limited. it uses that limited memory to learn and improve its responses. Here, if you see that, it will directly response will be given based on the input, right? Here, it will have a limited memory so that it will start keep on learning and improve its response. Directly, it will respond. First response will come, then the second response will be taken, right? Based on the first response, use the memory data to learn it and then improvise the result in the second response. That is limited memory, right? Now, the third one is theory of mind. So in theory of mind, what is the important thing is, here also memory will be there, but one extra feature is there, which understands the needs of other intelligent entities, which can able to understand some of the intelligent entities, it can able to understand it. But ultimately, the last one is the self-aware, which is the most important for our discussion, which is human-like intelligence can be created with the self-awareness. So that is the actual replica of human brain, right? So that's the artificial narrow intelligence, general intelligence, and super intelligence, right? Now we will move on to the first topic, that is artificial narrow intelligence. Now I am going to give these three definitions, and later we will move on to the some of the important things about machine learning, artificial intelligence, machine learning and deep learning, something about that one, and we will wind off our today's session. So I will give you the best examples for the defining this artificial narrow intelligence, general intelligence, and then super intelligence, right? Let us move on to the first one, artificial narrow intelligence, which we can call it as weak AI, right? We will call it as weak AI. So it involves applying artificial intelligence only to the specific task. It cannot apply for more number of tasks. So what we can take it, this is the best example where we can have Alexa, right? What is most of them will be having Alexa in mobile app, or they will be having in Alexa in case of that Amazon product, right? So what you will say Alexa, play my music, means it will start playing the albums from the favorite section, right? So that is the best example of this weak AI, which we can call it as Alexa. This is a very good example. Why I am taking this Alexa play my music is, in your favorite section, you will have around 100 albums will be there. So it will play only from this specific features only. It will not go beyond the other limits. Then that is called as weak AI. So that is the narrow intelligence. So operates with a limited predefined range of functions, and there is no genuine intelligence or no self-awareness despite being a sophisticated example of weak AI. It doesn't have any intelligence. You have stored a predefined 100 albums over there. If you ask Alexa to play my music, means it will play only the albums which we have been kept it in the favorite sections. Almost it is 100 albums. Within that, it will be swapping the album, right? So this is the example of artificial narrow intelligence. And the next is iPhone, right? If you are using iPhone, you can unlock your phone using your Face ID in Apple iPhones, right? So face verification at the Apple, which can be done through artificial narrow intelligence, right? So what do you mean by this artificial narrow intelligence? This will learn and this will work only for the stored features. Here the stored features will be the authorized person, authorized person of the face of an authorized person will be the feature which will be already stored in the mobile. So face verification can be done with the mapping with your face. Then it is artificial narrow intelligence, right? And the next one is the autopilot feature at the Tesla. Tesla is the new car which is completely going to be AI enabled car, and then it is going to be, they are developing electric vehicles also, right? So they are having that scanning facility. Autopilot feature can be set by through this artificial narrow intelligence. That is another example of artificial narrow intelligence. And the next one is the hands-on robotics, right? This is the social humanoid Sophia, which has been built at the hands-on robotics. This is a famous robot which has been developed, social humanoid. The name called Sophia, which looks like exactly a human being. If you search it in the net, you will get the details about this Sophia robot, right? Which has been developed by the company Hands-on Robotics. And this is another important, or the not we can say it as important, most regularly used application, Google Map. You're finding the optimal path through Google Maps, right? Suppose you want to go from Chennai to Trichy, so it will give you a lot of options. Out of that, it will select only one optimized path, or it will select 2 to 3 optimized paths to the Trichy, right? Based on the different factors available in between Metro Chennai and Trichy, right? So that is one of the best important, locally used applications, you can say that, which uses artificial narrow intelligence, right? Now you can able to see whatever the applications we are using it in the day-to-day life, everything is AI based, right? So you can see that if you see everything, it will become a regular day-to-day applications only. So these are the applications and the definitions of the artificial narrow intelligence. Now we will move on to the artificial general intelligence, which is the strong AI, which we can call it a strong AI, not moderate AI, which is called strong AI. Your narrow intelligence is weak AI. Here, what is the difference is, here it involves the machines that possess the ability to perform any intellectual task that a human being can able to do it. So whatever the task a human being can able to do, any intellectual task, the same thing a machine can perform means, then it will be based on this strong AI or general intelligence. We see that machines don't possess the human-like abilities, but we will have a strong processing unit that can perform high-level computations. Till now, we are having that much kind of machines are not available to perform the human-like abilities. But nowadays, we are having the strong processing unit that can compute any level of computations, but it cannot able to think and it cannot give any reasoning like a human, right? So there are many experts who doubt that artificial general intelligence will ever be possible, and there are also many questions whether it should be desirable, whether it is required. You can see that debate is going on whether this kind of machines are required or not. Debate is going on. So many are questioning whether it is required, and so many are saying that it will be whether it will be possible or not. But who is this? He is a more famous personality, right? So what he has told, strong AI would make take of it on its own and redesign itself at an ever increasing rate. He has told that it's an ever increasing rate. He has told it will automatically takes its own path and it will redesign itself at an increasing rate. Humans who are limited by slow biological evolution, who couldn't complete and would be superseded, right? So he has told like this, and it has not come. Machines has not come, and it has not taken over the humans. And what is the super intelligence? This is the one which is going to surpass the human beings. So at the beginning of my lecture, I have told you that, right, that Elon Musk has told that it is going to be the fundamental risk which we are going to face it, which we may face this one, where your capabilities of the computers will surpass the human beings. So presently seen as a hypothetical situation, it has been depicted in movies and science fiction books where machines will take over the world. It is a hypothetical situation, but Elon Musk has already believed that artificial super intelligence will take over the world by the year definitely 2040. He has given this one in writing, and he has given that one. Elon Musk has given that by the end of year 2040, artificial super intelligence will take over the world. He has told that one. Computers will surpass the human beings, so that we need to wait and watch whether, if we are here up to 2040, we have to wait and watch whether it is going to happen or not, right? So this is the one. Now I will go for some applications of AI which has been used in the real world, which incorporates different. Sometimes it will use deep learning, sometimes it will use machine learning, and sometimes both will be used, right? So this is one more thing. You can have contract intelligence coin. So nowadays you have heard about one more important thing: bitcoins, right? A gambling kind of thing, that is the virtual currency, cryptocurrency, right? Bitcoins have been start emerging now, that is also due to AI, right? So this is one more thing which is initially in the finance sectors. This JP Morgan Chase, they have used this methodology for analyzing the legal documents, right? So they have started using the legal documents for this analyzing the legal documents, and for extracting some important data points and clauses in the matter of seconds. They have used this AI, machine learning and image recognition software. They have used in their financial sector, they have used it. Now slowly we have moved on to the cryptocurrency, where we are started using these concepts, machine learning and then deep learning methods, and along with the AI, right? Cryptocurrencies. But here they have used it for analyzing the legal documents. Why they have used this one for the analyzing the legal documents means it consists of around 12,000 agreements will be there. If you read the 12,000 agreements, it nearly takes 36,000 hours if you do it manually. So for that, they have developed this concept of using AI, machine learning, and some image recognition software. They have used it so that whatever the things to review 12,000 agreements for 36,000 hours manually, we have to do it. To avoid that, if they have used this concept, and they can able to do it in a matter of seconds. So that's why they have developed this one, and they have used it, and they are still using it, JP Morgan, right? And the second application, which we can call it as IBM, they are using IBM Watson. This is IBM is the pioneer for the healthcare, right? So now you are having so many virtual telemedicines. You can say it as telemedicines and virtual contacts with the doctors and everything, the healthcare in the foreign countries and all. They have started using these kind of things, and they have developed. The IBM has developed a software. They have developed their own software based on AI for the healthcare products. That is for the healthcare system. So what they have done is in the worldwide, IBM Watson AI technology, their software, they have integrated more than 230 healthcare organization integrated together, right? So you can able to see the same concept. They have been started implementing it in Meenakshi Mission Hospital in Madurai. They have started implementing it in the using this kind of AI technologies in their ambulances and all. They have started using it, right? So you can able to see it in the ads. So many ads you are getting it over there. Background, they are not going for the full efficient AI technology as IBM Watson is giving it. They have started using it. So many, with the help of so many startups, so many persons have started using it, right? So in 2016, IBM Watson AI technology was able to cross-reference 20 million oncology records and correctly diagnose the rare leukemia condition in the patients. So they have used this AI technology, and they have cross-reference, and they can able to diagnose rare disease, right? I'm saying that it is not only used for integrating the different healthcare organizations, and ultimately they can able to diagnose the different diseases, rare diseases. They can able to diagnose it. So one example, out of 20 million oncology records, they are having it. Out of that, they have diagnosed one rare leukemia condition in a patient, right? And next one is Google Eye. So this is another one which most of you have used it, or whether you have used it or not, I don't know. So if you have used it, you may aware about this Google Eye Doctor, right? So actually, if you see that this Google Eye Doctor, don't think that it is a Google Eye Doctor. I'm saying that if most of you have used it, means most of you have been gone for eye checkups, right? So where the doctors will be using some devices, you can able to see that devices with what you can say, that so many devices will be there for checking your eye condition. Out of that, they can able to do some scanning of your eyes, retinal scans, right? So if you go to leading eye hospitals, they are having these facilities, right? They are you still using the Google Eye Doctor for that one, for scanning the retinal scans and identify the condition, whether it is whether we are having a diabetic, so diabetic retinopathy, which causes the blindness. That is means that the sugar in the eye. So if the sugar condition is high, doctors will not do surgery on the eyes. The same thing, they will check out this diabetic retinopathy also, which will create the blindness among the humans. So for that purpose, they will use this Google's Eye Doctor. And the next one is the Facebooks. We have used that AI used for the face verification. I think you are using it for tagging purpose. When you post a photograph in the Facebook, automatically it will ask to tag someone. When you click on that one, if that person is there available in your collection of your friends, automatically it will search out your friend and it will give you your friend's name over to tag it over there. So that example is this one. AI is used for face verification. Here it uses the machine learning and deep learning concepts used to detect the facial features, and automatically it will tag your friends, right? So these are all the things happened 10 years before. So you can see that AI is not a new one, it's a old one, but we are using more efficient algorithms. Day by day we are improving our algorithms, and day by day we are improving the efficiency of the applications. Now in Twitter also we have started using AI used to identify the hate speech and terroristic languages in the tweets, right? Suppose now Twitter is used by everyone, right? So if any inappropriate languages have been used, automatically it has to be deleted. So for that purpose, they have started using this AI for identifying the hate speech and terroristic languages in the tweets. Here also, it will be using the machine learning and deep learning. And apart from that, one more thing is required here called NLP, natural language processing. The same thing is used with for Google, right? So NLP is having two applications. One can be used to NLP is required wherever you are using any languages. NLP will come into picture. Along with the NLP, deep learning and machine learning is used to filter out the offensive content. First of all, NLP is required to process the language, what language they have used it, and for filtering out, they will be using machine learning and deep learning. And in case of Google, NLP, why it is used means for translation, language translation from English to Tamil, Tamil to Hindi, Tamil to Hindi to Urdu. Any language conversion can be done with the help of NLP. That is also another one good field for us in the research. And this Twitter has till now banned 3 lakhs terrorist linked accounts, and 95% of which were found by non-human artificially intelligent machines. It is not human accounts. Non-human artificial intelligence account out of 3 lakh, 95% of accounts have been deleted so far by Twitter with the help of AI. This is an example of Facebook in face tagging. And then this is already I have told you at the beginning itself, Google prediction. So this is Google predictive search, which we can able to use it. And then the virtual assistant, that is also I have explained to you. One is Siri and another one is Alexa, and one more is Cortana. This is another application which is coming now, Cortana applications. So that is also example of the artificial intelligence. If you are having in laptops, new laptops, Cortana applications are coming, which is Microsoft. So a newly released Google's virtual assistant, Google also has announced there with Google's virtual assistant, which is called Google Duplex. So the function of this Google Duplex is millions of people not only can respond to the calls and book appointments for you. It adds a human touch will be added over there in this Google's virtual assistant called Duplex. And the next application is driverless cars. Self-driving cars are there. So this is the self-driving cars is the initial version for the driverless cars. So self-driving means we no need to drive. We can say that you have to turn right, turn left, and then self-driving can be done. And automatically it can able to detect the objects at the front, sides, and back. Based on that, the car can automatically drive. So this is the functionality which can be gone for the driverless cars, right? So which implements it doesn't require only deep learning things. It requires computer vision, also required image detection, deep learning, so that we can build the cars that can automatically detect the objects and drive without any human intervention. Ultimately, now human are also not required. Cars can drive automatically without any drivers. So Elon Musk talks about how AI is implemented in Tesla's self-driving cars and autopilot futures. So he talks about so many things about AI. You go to his video lectures, video that is his in YouTube. So many things are available for about him. So he told that Tesla will have fully self-driving cars ready and a robot taxi version that one can ferry passengers without anyone behind the wheel, which means that no human is required. So they can able to provide a taxi without any human. It's going to happen completely. It is the planning. Some places it started now, but it's not full-fledged. It started. It will be happening over there. Right. Since the emergence of AI in 1956, we have seen an exponential growth in its potential. So it covers AI covers domains such as machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, and then natural language processing, knowledge-based system, expert system, and so on. It not only covers AI. Don't think that AI is a separate domain. AI involves all the domains, right? Like machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, natural language processing, knowledge base, expert system, and a few more: augmented reality, virtual reality, and graphics. Everything will come over there. Computer graphics, everything will come under AI. So ultimately, AI is a module that can give you better output with high accuracy. That's it. So it made its way into computer vision and image processing also. So that's it about the AI. Now I told you about that. Something I will give you some insights I will give you about machine learning and deep learning, because this is the most important thing. Not on this. More focus will be not on natural language processing or knowledge-based system or expert system and other kind of things. Mostly, if you want to have successful AI, machine learning and deep learning is far more important, right? So that's why slightly I will give you insights about for another 10 minutes. I will give you some insights about artificial intelligence and that is artificial intelligence and machine learning and deep learning. So what do you mean by this? Machine learning is it's a computer program that can adapt to new data independently of human action, which means that it has to make the new data, which has to adapt to the situation, and it has to make a appropriate decision. For that we need a program, that is the machine learning, and it's a complex algorithm, or we can call it as a source code, which is built into a computer that allows for the machines which can identify data, and automatically it can predict around the data, whatever the data which has been identified. Based on the data, it can predict the output. That would be the functionality of the machine learning. So simply we can call it as it is useful in passing the immense amount of information that is consistently and readily available in the world to assist in decision making. So this is the major task. So whatever the information is readily available in the world, based on that information, it will analyze it, and then it will be assisting in making the decisions. That's the purpose of machine learning. Now, directly I am going to compare it with the deep learning with machine learning, and then I will go. Already I have given you what is deep learning, and then Now just I am going to give you the comparison of deep learning with machine learning, and I will give you some insight about the deep learning. So whatever the data, whatever the big data we are having available with us, if you want to process the big data, we require machine learning, which is one of the technique is AI which is one of the AI technique. Now, a self-adaptive algorithm that gets increasingly better analysis and patterns with experience or with newly added data. Example, I will give you the example now. So whatever the data we are having, if you want to process a large amount of data, we require machine learning. But if you want to process a single data in a better analysis and with the help of better analysis and with better experience and with the newly added data, you want to make more efficient means for a single observation, then we need to go for deep learning, right? So that's the purpose of this one. Example, you can have if a digital payment is company is there, and if you that want to detect the detect or it want to find out who is the fraud or who is the hacker who is hacking that digital payment, right? It can employ various machine learning tools, but the computational algorithm will be created, and that will be built into a computer model which will process all the transactions happening on the digital platform, which will find the patterns in the data set, and which will point out the anomaly detected by the pattern. Then it is deep learning. When it continuously keeps on identify the third party, that is the third party intruders, then it will be the function of the machine learning. So this is the difference. When it identifies that one person with a lot of training data, then it will be the deep learning. Like this, if continuously the third party or the intruder are continuously identified with the extra data and the extra patterns that has been continuously added with the help of deep learning, and it is able to decide or it is able to make the decision that he is an intruder or he is a third party intruder or third party hacker, right? It will keep on identifying the persons means, then it will become a machine learning. If it is process a large amount of data for making various decisions or various appropriate for making various appropriate decisions means it is machine learning. And deep learning is for for making a proper decision. It will process the available data, or it will be processing the data with the help of different patterns or the different experiences which already gained for a particular system. Then it will be a deep learning, right? That's why deep learning, we will call it as a subset of machine learning. It utilizes the hierarchical level of artificial neural networks to carry out the process of machine learning. A simple artificial network will have one input layer, one hidden layer, and one output layer. If you have more number of hidden layers, then it become a deep neural network. And the other names for the deep neural network is deep structured learning, deep neural learning, and deep neural network, right? So that's it. It's a part of a broader family of machine learning methods based on the artificial neural networks with representation learning is called as deep learning. And it can be supervised, semi-supervised, or unsupervised. What do you mean by the supervised or semi-supervised or unsupervised? What is the semi-super? I think you have been very familiar about supervised and semi-supervised and unsupervised learning. If you are having supervised learning has been employed means it will have some trained data for identifying the outputs. Training data will be available. In case of unsupervised learning, there won't be no non-availability of trained data. No trained data would be there, and it will decide the output directly, right? So you will have an input and you will be having an output, right? Without any trained data, it will predict the output over here. Then it is unsupervised learning. Supervised learning means it will be having some kind of trained data will be available. Some kind of trained data will be available. Based on the data, it will predict over the output. right? So best example for supervised learning is your image processing. All kind of image processing, you can take it out in the supervised learning, right? So this is the best example of supervised learning. So what is the helpful of this deep learning is we can unravels the huge amounts of unstructured data. It will take, for a human being, it will take decades to understand its process, but deep learning will do it in a seconds. Right, now let us move on to the, so far whatever the things we have discussed it, various applications and various merits we have seen it of artificial intelligence. At the same time, we are having so many drawbacks for the artificial intelligence. So if you go for any technology, any new technology or existing technology, whatever be the technology, each technology will have its own merits and it will have its own demerits, right? So cost wise, high cost of implementation. So cost wise high, and the second because of setting up of AI based machines and computers, etc. And it cannot replace the human beings. It is beyond our level to perform much more efficiently as compared to a human being. And third one is it doesn't improve with experience, right? So for us human being, as experiences, we are gaining the experience, we will improve ourselves, but machines cannot do that one. It requires some human cognitive power is um, for human cognitive power we will be developing ourselves with age and experience, but it will have its own AI will have its own wear and tear with time, because it can't improve with experience. And similarly, machines can't alter their responses to the changing environments, right? But here we require, whenever there is a change in the input, in case of human brain, it will adapt to the situation. But in case of this AI, whenever there is some change in the input, AIs need to be reassessed as well as it need to be retrained, and it has to rebuild. Otherwise, AI cannot be successful. So machines can't judge what is right, what is wrong, but because they are incapable of understanding the concept of ethical or legal, it will give you the output as it is. And creativity is lacking, so it's not built for creative pieces of work. No creativity can be done, but this creativity can be implemented with the help of the creative ability of the person who programs and commands them. That possibility is there. Ultimately, anyone, if we are able to create the um, human intelligence in an artificial way, automatically there will be a risk of unemployment. Chances might be there, because a global study has been done, right? And intelligent agents and robots could replace 30% of the world's current human labor by the year 2030. So this is going to be one more thing. Risk of unemployment will rise. 30% of the world's current human labor will be reduced, right? And automatically, automation will displace between 400 and 800 million jobs by 2030, requiring as many as 375 million people to switch job categories entirely. Chances are there. So everyone, most of the people will start switching the jobs. Chances will happen over this one by the end of the year 2030. So what would be the conclusion is, AI is branching out in everyone's aspect of our life, day-to-day life. Is it possible that one day it might take over our lives? If it is possible, how long will it take? Well, it may be sooner than you think. It may be sooner. It will not be later. It is estimated that AI will take over the entire world within the next 30 years. So 30 years we have to wait and watch. By then, I hope we develop some sort of teleportation medicine machine that help us escape our very own creation. So we need to have some machines has to be created so that we can escape ourselves from the machines what we have created. That also will come over in our world. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. That's all from my side. Thank you. Happy learning.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your wonderful presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
So really, I hope all the participants have learned a lot of things from your presentation in artificial intelligence for beginners. It is not only for the beginners. So I hope from your presentation we have learned a lot and we can able to implement it as a project. And it will be helpful for the researchers also, those who are doing a PhD in AI as well as in machine learning. Thanks a lot for your presence, or even in your busy schedule.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir. Any queries from the participants? I request the participants, if you have any queries, you can ask, sir. Is there any queries from the participants? Okay, thank you. Thank you. On the
Thank you.
behalf of Mahindra Engineering College and the Department of ECE, I thank Dr. M. Lakshmanan, Professor and Head of ECE, Galgodias College of Engineering and Technology, for this session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, participants. I request you to complete the feedback form, which is available in the chat box. Feedback form is for attendance as well as for feedback. Exactly by 12 noon, we have the session 5 going to be. The session 5 is by Dr. R. Pandishwari ma'am from NIT Trichy on the topic of MIMO metamaterial inspired antennas. Ma'am is already there in the session itself. Will exactly start by 11:50 with the introduction of our resource person, and by 12 noon exactly we'll start our session of today's fifth session. Thank you. We'll have a short break and we'll rejoin exactly by 11:50.